Hello, welcome to The Conversation in News Central Television. This is a program where we bring you up to speed with all the political happenings on the African continent. I am Benga Aborora.
And I am Rita Omodia. Today on The Conversation, we will kickstart in Kenya as protesters express their displeasure over some of the government's measures to impose higher taxes on items, including fuel.
Later on the program, we'll switch gears to Nigeria to discuss the aircraft controversy, as the House of Representatives says Nigeria Air aircraft launch during the Buhari administration was a fraud.
That news, which spread yesterday, was really a very terrible thing, I must say. I mean, we were all happy on May 26th when we were launching or unveiling, according to some of the ministers.
I remember the program.
Yes, yeah. And we had expected much. So now House of Representatives saying that it was all a scam and all the controversies, talking about all the proceedings for the airline and even the partnership with the Ethiopian government. I mean, what exactly is going on there?
Exactly. I think it was just a hurriedly done thing, just to say that, the former president commissioned it. It didn't follow due process. And it's so sad that you try to bamboozle a nation of 200 million people and you think, I mean, it's an insult on Nigerians' intelligence.
It even puts the image of the country in a very bad light, because everybody heard about it. We talked about Nigeria Air, talked about the benefits, and it was supposed to be a plus for the Buhari administration. But unfortunately, instead of being a plus, I don't think it will really bring a very bad light for him.
But let's see if the present administration is interested in, floating a national carrier. They've done some work, and I guess our experts will shed more light into it as we proceed with the program. But we begin in Kenya, where protests erupted in Nairobi as demonstrators rallied against the Finance Bill 2023, which includes plans for tax increases. The participants, holding signs, flags and whistles, filled the streets of the city's central business district, marching towards the Parliament building. They chanted slogans condemning the bill and its perceived impact on the economy. Critics argued that the proposed tax hikes would burden ordinary citizens, exacerbate economic struggles and favor the wealthy. Tensions escalated
as police fired tear gas canisters into the crowd, leading to clashes and several arrests. The Finance Bill 2023, aimed at expanding the tax base and generating revenue to meet the government's budget goals, has faced widespread criticism for its potential negative effects on the cost of living. Despite the strong opposition, the bill is scheduled for its second reading in Parliament on June 8. And now join us for this conversation. We have Daniel Juma Omondi, is Executive Director for Global Peace Foundation. He joins us from Nairobi, Kenya. We also have Rixi Mubarak Atindi, is a political analyst. He joins us from Eltura in Kenya. Gentlemen, welcome to the conversation.
Thank you very much.
So I'm going to begin with you, Rixi. I mean, can you provide an overview of the specific tax changes proposed in the Finance Bill 2023, and what do you think their potential impact will be on various sectors of the economy?
Thank you very much for having me here. First of all, I'll say that the Finance Bill is unnecessary currently to the Kenyans, because Kenyans are already pressed by the current state of inflation in the country. The Finance Bill proposes that of course, we have the housing bit, we have that increase on fuel and petrol and etc. So you'll find that this bill is going to be beneficial in a way to the wealthy and is going to press down those who are poor, because you find that now for the issue like the housing, each and every Kenyan has a right to use their own money how they want. The government cannot force me to save my money for whatever I hand. What about if I already have a house? Why are you forcing me to save? If you look at, especially at that's the main issue, because you find that that bit is not very realistic, because you find that if I'll be saving, like, let's say 3,000 Kenya shillings for the house, I'll be paying 1,500, and then the employer pays 1,500. For how long am I going to finish paying for me to acquire the house? Kenyans are opposed to the bill because it's adding more burden. What the government should be doing right now is to try to reduce the burden, especially on basic commodities. A packet of 2 kg flour currently in Kenya goes at 250 shillings. A normal mama mboga gets an average of that money. So where is he going to get vegetable, cooking fat, all those other things? This government, when they were coming to power, they were riding on a narrative of hustlers, that they are going to better the lives of hustlers. So Kenyans are really like, they really don't understand what's happening, because it's actually the opposite of what they promised the Kenyans.
Okay, thank you very much, Rickson. It's time for me to bring in Daniel Juma Omondi, joining us from the capital, Nairobi. Now, Daniel, a warm welcome to you. Quick one. How widespread is the public opposition to the Finance Bill 2023? Are the protests limited to Nairobi? Was the situation in Kisumu, in Mombasa, in Eldoret, and other parts of the Kenyan Republic? And what are the main grievances voiced by the protesters?
Thank you. What you are calling the protest by opposition are the protest that has been there. That is almost 2 or 3 months ago, where the opposition leader Raila Odinga has been claiming that he had a whistleblower report that showed that he won the election. But that whistleblower report came quite a long time after the election was done and dusted, and the Supreme Court confirmed that President William Ruto won the election, legally. And so whatever grievances the opposition had, it's kind of too late. We cannot go back to that process.
Now, Daniel, I'm not sure if you heard me correctly. I'm talking about protests for the 2023 Finance Bill. What are the main grievances of these protesters?
So basically, and I was coming to that, basically the protests, basically they are giving the history of the protests. These protests came as a result of the opposition using the grievance, the high cost of living, as one of the main reasons for the protest. And they were saying that they wanted the government to bring down the cost of maize flour, But this is a new government, it just came into power. You cannot expect the prices of commodities to come down immediately. So personally, I believe that the opposition should have given this government a little bit more time to put its house in order. And let's see whether the physical infrastructure that the government has come up with will be able to bring the prices of these goods down. So we had we have had what we're calling the bipartisan talks between the government and the opposition, which are not going down well. And right now, as we're talking, the opposition has now used this finance bill as one of the reasons for going back to the streets. Okay, so this is one of the reasons. And unfortunately, I do not think that taking the people back to the streets will be able to solve this issue.
Okay.
I think the opposition should be able to sit down with the government, because most of them are in parliament, and find out what solutions we can have, what kind of amendments that we can have to the finance bill that can be able to be agreeable to the Kenyan populace.
Now, coming to this point that you mentioned, I would like Rickson's take on it, and I also want some point of clarity for some who are not in Kenya, so that we can have a proper understanding of what is going on. So there was a protest earlier on by the opposition. We're seeing another protest now concerning this Finance Bill 2023. Is it also spearheaded by Raila Odinga, or is it a protest that emanated on its own? Yes. And then secondly, what exactly has the government done? Have they demonstrated any willingness to engage with the concerns raised by these protesters?
much. The current process we are having right now about the finance bill, they are purely by the citizens, because the protests that the opposition had, they were about some of those issues that my brother is echoing. But currently, the opposition has not gone to the streets about the finance bill, but Kenyans themselves have gone to the streets about the situation. It is important to understand that our constitution gives the right to Kenyans the right to assemble, picket, and peaceful demonstration. I don't see a reason why the government should be using extreme forces in countering this opposition. I think the issue has escalated until I saw to a point that the issue maybe might have been taken to the ICC. Because if you look at how the police are handling the protesters, they're handling them in a very inhuman way. Number two, if you look at the current issues, the Kenyan citizen currently is already overburdened. It's already overburdened. If you're going to tax a teacher who is earning 40,000 Kenya shillings, you are taxing them 3,000. You are still going to tax a senator earning that huge cash. The same thing. Where is the fairness there? It is not fair. So the Kenyans have decided that it is time that they speak for themselves, and the constitution gives the Kenyans that right to do so. Also, the government, how it is handling the issues, is handling the issues in a way that is so much uncalled for. If you are a leader, whatever you say carries weight. You cannot be coming to Kenyans and telling them, in 2 weeks' time, we will do this. In 3 months' time, we'll do this. They told farmers that they have to release the maize that they have in their stores. Otherwise, some other maize from I don't know where, they'll come and find those maize there and they'll not be so. In the next interview, they're being asked, they're saying, we don't have any maize anywhere. Like, you must have facts as a leader as you try, because whatever you say, Kenyans listen keenly to whatever you're saying. They promised us about lowering the cost of fuel, that's cooking gas. Next interview is now about they're saying that they're going to lower the cost of the cylinder. And they put it very clearly that it is a war on one Raila Odinga because he's the major producer of the gas. As a government, it is important that they focus on the livelihood of Kenyans rather than fighting political wars. When a leader comes to the public and says that Kenya is a shareholding company, if you didn't vote for us, that you should not expect anything from the government.
Rickson, I'd like to get another point from you. What exactly is the justification of the government? I mean, there's high inflation currently going on in Kenya. Why are we still having high tax levels and this different tax series that we're seeing by William Ruto?
Well, people are complaining about the cost of living. Yes.
Yeah. So what's the justification?
The government has not made it clear to why they have to do that. They have not made it clear. Because what the government should do first is to seal the loopholes of corruption in the country, because I believe that the country, whatever they are raising in form of tax, is capable of running this economy very well. They have to seal every loophole of corruption. If you look at the state appointments, each and every state officer appointed, they have a corruption scandal here or there. What are we doing? I think we should try, like the government. The thing is, the government has not given us the reason to why they want to raise those taxes. They have not told us why they want to collect why should you force me to save? That is my money. We have a rule in Kenya that says that the deductions cannot go beyond the third rule. But currently, if you look at most of the earners, they are already surviving on that third. So where are they going to tax?
Thank you very much, Rickson. Now, Daniel, Rickson seems to have a different take. He feels these protests are organic and not sponsored by the opposition party. Now, how does the Finance Bill 2023 fit into the broader economic and fiscal policies of the Kenyan government? Rickson just asked a very important question. He says, what do they need this taxes for, that they need to tighten their belt? And what goals is the government trying to achieve through these tax changes?
Okay, thank you. this is a new government. This is a new regime that just came into power. And let me be straight here. If whichever government came into power, if it was Azimio that came into power today, they would have done the same thing. If you look at the promises that Raila Odinga and the Azimio party promised, they promised a lot. They made a lot of promises. They promised 6,000 shillings to every unemployed Kenyans. Where was that money going to come from? So my take is that this is a new government, and any new government has the right to be able to collect taxes. This particular government's priority, they have actually said that they do not want to borrow a lot of money to be able to finance their functions. So that is why they have come up with this finance bill. And some people are looking at just the housing levy as one of the reasons. But if you look at, for example, the VAT tax, one of these the taxes that the government proposes to increase is the VAT, which is going to increase VAT from 8% to 16%. Many people are not even complaining about that. They're just talking about the finance bill. So my take is that choices have consequences. Kenyans voted for this government. And now this government, is coming in, to raise money to be able to fulfill the promises that it made.
Okay.
But what's the guarantee that the government is going to use this money judiciously to benefit the people of Kenya? Because it seems that politicians live larger than the people they govern.
I cannot give you that guarantee, but the fact is that this is the new government. It has the right to collect the taxes. I'm urging the opposition to take these grievances, to oppose the finance bill in Parliament, instead of getting the people to the streets to oppose this. The best place to be able to address this issue is in Parliament.
Okay.
And they can take the ideas. They can come up with their alternative ideas of how to raise money that this government needs to be able to fulfill its pledges.
All right, Daniel, I'm going to bring Rickson on this issue of the Parliament, and I wonder if they've said anything. And also, Rickson, Daniel has been emphasizing a new government, and it's all right. It's going to get to 1 year, since he was inaugurated, or rather, since he was voted into governance. So, first of all, what are the things that he has done to help the economy, and also what has the Parliament done or said concerning this new finance bill?
I will answer that by asking my brother just one question. Who stole the president's manifesto that he sold to us? Who stole that manuscript? Because whatever he's doing is totally opposite. If you look at, if we compare, now if you go to the data, if you compare, now let's say like for the time that William Ruto has been in power, and then we look at the time William Ruto has collected more taxes. Like I think he has improved on tax collection, because the total revenue was around for Uhuru. If we compare now with the time that he has been in power, we can say that like from 866 billion, he said that he has collected 928.1 billion. If you look at the debt uptake, he's still taking debts. During the previous regime, the prices of basic commodities were down because of subsidies on basic commodities like maize flour. When the new regime came into power, yes, we understand it. Yes, it's a new regime, but the guy said that immediately he puts down the Bible after swearing in the price of unga is maize flour. The price of unga is going to be, I don't know, 100. But it's totally opposite. He's still taking debts. Is increasing the price of basic commodities, and also some utterances that they're coming from the East. They're not statesmen. Some 2 days ago, in a prayer in I don't know, was it Kajiado or Narok, a leader says that I want to see those who will vote against the finance bill. You should not come to me asking for roads and the other things. That is very wrong. Every Kenyan pays taxes. We have a right.
And of course, is president of the whole of Kenya, not just some section of the country.
Yes.
welcome to reality. Those were campaign promises. Politicians make a lot of all sorts of lofty promises. But now when it's time to govern, governing and campaign is different, completely different.
But the people are following what you say at your campaigns, the promises that are being said. So are you saying that the people shouldn't listen to what is being said at the campaigns? Let's try and get clarity on what you're saying there.
What I'm trying to tell you is that this government, this administration, just like the opposition, made a lot of promises to the people. Some of these promises were very unrealistic. But when it comes to governing, welcome to reality. You understand?
It's a different kettle of fish.
We have to raise money. They have to raise money to be able to fulfill some of the promises that they made. And this is when I was talking as a political scientist.
Daniel, should the people follow unrealistic promises? I mean, when you're making campaigns, you should have thought through all what you're saying. You look at the economy, talking about the taxes. Should the people still follow a person who will give them unrealistic promises?
I know, but unfortunately, this administration is in power now, and there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do about it.
Okay. Now before we wrap up this conversation, I would like to... Yes, before we wrap up this conversation up, I'd like to ask Rickson this question, since people are back on the streets. Now, what alternative solutions, compromises would you propose to address the concerns raised by the public and strike a balance between revenue generation and minimizing its impact on the citizens? Because the government does need money to carry out programs.
Yes, so these are my proposals moving forward. I think the members of parliament, this finance bill has been produced in parliament. It is the same members of parliament, some of them who are complaining, who are responsible for this finance bill. Actually, if you look at the VAT increase, this was done in the previous administration. Some of the members of parliament who are now complaining, were quiet when these proposals were agreed to. But now, because they're in the opposition, they are now behaving like they're very holy, like they don't know how these things came about. So in the previous administration, some of these policies were agreed to, but for political expediency, so some of them are opposing these right now. So I think it is high time Kenyans we come back to reality and know that if we are to be self-sufficient, if we are to reduce borrowing, then we may have to do certain things, to be able to raise money locally. So some of the advice that I'll give this government is for us to increase the people, the number of people who pay taxes. Right now, the people who pay taxes, people with pay slips, are barely, less than 4 million. So these are the same people who are going again to have their taxes increase to be able to plug the budget.
Okay.
But the administration needs
more taxes from the people when they already complain about the taxes already. Let's hear from Rickson if he has any other alternative solutions. I know you talked about tightening government coffers. What other solutions do you think, or alternatives you think, are available for the government?
First, I'll say that there is no government that can liberate its people through taxing its people. It is those punitive taxes that scare away investors who could have come to Kenya and build industries, and we get more youth being employed because we see that the rate of unemployment in Kenya is too high. So when investors look at that, they shy away from investing here, and we still have a huge number of youth being unemployed. The government should make the business environment enabling for investors so that more people can be employed. Number two, the government should try as much as possible to have regional balance. We cannot be having those kind of sentiments that, I don't know, because you didn't vote for me. We have politics and leadership. After politics, we embark on leadership. The presidency in Kenya is a symbol of national unity. Currently, what they should be doing is to try to bring Kenyans together, trying to see how we can get more investors. And that cannot happen by such punitive taxes, by the government acting so rogue on its citizens. I want to say this, that it is possible that these protests can escalate to something that might not be manageable. I will urge the government
We
to
really
calm
hope
down.
it doesn't get to that point. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Daniel Juma Amondi, Executive Director, Global Peace Foundation, joining us live from Nairobi, Kenya, and also Rixon Mubarak Atindi, a political analyst who joined in live from Eldoret. We do appreciate both your contributions and your insights. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
You're watching The Conversation in News Central Television. When we return from this quick timeout, we will move into Nigeria, where the House of Representatives as Aviation Committee has accused the Buhari-led administration of carrying out a fraudulent and secretive launch of Nigeria Air. So we'll bring you more details when we return.